Good morning.
Good morning.
Cathy Johnson, one of our co-workers. Thank you for your willingness to share a little bit about the ministry you have here with the Adrian Dominican Sisters and a little bit about your own life if you care to do that. So if you'd like to begin and just tell us where you are presently in ministry here on campus and what is involved in your position.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. I'm serving as a chaplain with the sisters here in the Dominican Life Center. Mostly that's with Sisters in Maria, but other needs as arise. It means getting to know the sisters, building a relationship with them, however that might unfold with each particular sister. We are on call usually 1 day a week. That means that we go to the hospital with a sister if she goes to ER. And sometimes that's an opportunity to really get to know a sister if she's able to still converse while being in ER. That's not always possible. And so sometimes the relationships develop out of that, or for a particular community like First Maria, where there's a memory care unit. So I am the chaplain for all the sisters on that community. So sometimes that means reading mail to them, being in touch with their families, writing letters back because they're no longer able to write. For other sisters, maybe I'll take them to Mass, take them to a funeral if it was a sister they knew particularly well, was in her crowd, so we try to support them in that way.
What about the garden level? That's not part of...
It is. Another chaplain takes care of that one. Yeah. And then we have sisters that we're chaplain for throughout the building.
Okay.
So those are the only 2 floors where we have an assigned chaplain.
Oh, I see how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mary Ray's desire is that if the sisters are able, they choose who they would like as a chaplain. So some of it is just getting to know us first so that they can kind of, who would they be comfortable with?
Right.
Sharing some of their life story and making their funeral plans, choosing scripture and music and who special might participate in their funeral mass, what they might like on the cover, any special requests that they have.
Well, that's
something
great,
that all of the chaplains do. And then accompanying them as they go through this last season of their life, and some of the challenges that come, the loss of family members or dear friends and sisters, the loss of maybe vision, or now they're in a wheelchair. What does it mean to be in this season of decline and still be a woman of prayer and faith? But one of the first weeks that I was here, as I was just walking around trying to learn my way around, I met Sister Therese Mary Foote. And she briefly just told me what she had done. And she said, but now my ministry is prayer and presence, and I take that very seriously. And that named for me what I could already feel on the campus and in the air was the prayer and presence. And so we try to be about the same with the sisters so that we accompany them. And that's a sacred honor, I believe, to share this part of their life with them. This is a community of remarkable women, and you have each done amazing things individually and collectively.
How do you get to know something about the sister? I mean, maybe even before you go into the room, or do you know anything?
Sometimes we might. Mary Ray might share something with us. You know, Sister so-and-so is coming in, and maybe it's her decision, maybe it's a health concern that she has to come. So we might know a little bit, but perhaps similar to you, ask them to tell me your story. You know, how did you come to enter as an Adrian Dominican sister? Did you meet the sisters in school? Was it something in your family? Were you out for a while? Tell me about your missions, and you know, what is it that brought you joy and still brings you joy? About their family. So,
because they could certainly remember a long time ago.
Yes.
Those that are with more challenging memory issues.
Yes.
What prepared you? How did you find out about this position? Where were you before you came to
I was serving
campus?
as the interim pastor at Jonesville First Presbyterian Church in Jonesville. I'm an ordained Presbyterian pastor.
Okay.
I was at my aunt's funeral, and Mary Weber was there we are very distantly related.
Okay.
And so she said, you know, maybe you could have a job where I'm working. Well, I didn't know much about you, so I thought, well, maybe it would be in the gift shop or such until I could find a ministry job. So I went online and looked at the website and thought, this is an amazing congregation. All the many things that you're about. And I was really impressed with what I saw there. So I had a conversation with Mary Ray and then an invitation to come and see. And
So we were looking for someone at that
yes,
time.
you were.
Okay.
And here I am, 3 years later. I was so graciously welcomed when I began.
Good.
And almost every sister has been just delighted and pleased that the community welcomes someone like myself who is not Catholic, with the understanding that we're all on a different path to the same place.
Good. So when you say almost everyone,
I think there's a few that have some reservations.
Still.
But they're so, and they're not real adamant about that.
No.
They just kind of keep that to themselves.
Times are changing, sisters.
They really are.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things that I've learned from the community is the value and beauty of celebration, particularly around your jubilees. And a year ago, January, it was the 20th anniversary of my ordination.
Yours, right.
So that resulted in an ecumenical communion service in the Rose Room, where I preached and presided at the table. There were about 50 sisters who came.
Wonderful.
And some with tears, saying, we really are one.
Oh, good.
That was a gift to be able to celebrate in this community of women who have made similar vows, and to know the value of that and the value of acknowledging a milestone. So that was a gift to me from the community to be able to share that.
You know, one thing as you're sitting here talking, and you know something about the women. I think of the women there on first floor, who I know many of them and have been with in various capacities, and we come to know them for their brilliance, for the way they've contributed to the society and to the congregation, and we just feel terrible, you know, but you know, as they journey along the condition that they are in. But you kind of meet them, and whatever you hear is awesome, is wonderful. And maybe sometimes you don't have that history that we do, so you greet them where they are, and maybe we keep them. Maybe I keep them.
Thought of it that way.
Yeah, I didn't either. As you were talking, I just thought that's interesting. Our sisters, we want to regard all of us as special and good and doing what they were called to do.
So I especially appreciate the remembrances that we have and the eulogy, to kind of fill in those spaces of what Sister did and who she was about and how she touched lives.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'll be an autobiography that we can read that gives us some of their story.
Oh, good.
And then we can make references to it. And sometimes that can kind of awaken something in them.
Good.
To say, oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But now that I've been here 3 years, there are some sisters, you know, who I knew who were well, and I've watched their decline. And so I experience a small portion of what you all experience. But I am aware of that collective sense of grief and loss, and celebration onto the next life.
We celebrate, yes, but you often think when we have so many in a row,
yes,
you hardly mourn the one, and then all of a sudden tomorrow is another one. Tomorrow, you know,
we don't always have time to really grieve the one before we're preparing for the next. Yeah, and that's hard.
So you have a big challenge on your hand as you work with our women.
We don't do it alone.
And right, with celebration and with dealing with the whole loss. Now, your personal life, you have family, do you live nearby?
My parents moved to Adrian to be closer to me, so they're about 5 minutes away.
Good.
They're aging as well, so what I learn here I take home. I learn some things from them that I bring here. I have 2 daughters. The oldest lives in Marshall. She and her husband have an organic vegetable farm and a 4.5-year-old daughter, so I have a granddaughter.
Okay.
And my youngest daughter lives in Centerville and married, and they too have an organic vegetable farm. So,
wow.
And we try to get together as often as our schedules allow. Yeah.
Did you grow up on a organic?
We did not. Nope.
Where'd
they
they get
went
this
to
from?
farmers markets, and that's
Oh, that's how they. Oh, why should I pay them? I'm going to grow my own.
yeah. So. Yep.
Is there anything that you'd like to tell us about what it's been like working here on this campus? I mean, just in general, not just the DLC, but as you engage with other sisters and other co-workers. And
there's couple things that come to mind. I remember in orientation they spoke of when they knew the need to invite lay people in to start doing some of the jobs, to intentionally use the term co-workers as that we're doing this together, that we're not staff or employees. And I appreciate the efforts at really trying to build that sense of mutuality. The campus events, the co-worker events, like the campus day just on Sunday, those kinds of things to help try to build community and a sense of mutuality. And so some days I feel as if I'm being mentored, I'm paid to be mentored by these wise and compassionate women as I walk with them. And I don't know of a lot of jobs that offer that kind of gift.
It's interesting.
And just yesterday, our sister said, you know, I don't think we show enough appreciation to the coworkers for the work that they do. When I see a coworker with a sister at her very last days and then trying to go to the vigil or at least pay respects with tears in her eyes, you know that something special has happened. And what a gift we offer. I think one of the particular gifts of this community is the honoring and dignity given to someone as they're dying and when they've died. That we don't hide that's very much a part of life, and we don't need to shun it and push it aside, but we can honor it with dignity. And the beauty of the rituals are so valuable beyond words.
And you bring your gifts to those rituals and to everything that we do here. And we can't. I think that's one thing we've been very good at as a congregation. We know we can't continue with just us doing everything. So we have to do it. Not we have to. We've called in the best. We've been blessed with the best, and we've called in the best, that they know that they are in ministry with us very much. You are very much a part of our history. Very significant part of our history. And so we're learning from you, and you've mentioned you've learned something
and
from
we're
us
learning
too.
Together.
Yeah, together.
Yes.
Yeah.
My presbytery, which is like a diocese, validated my ministry here, which is pretty significant being in a Catholic institution. There was a time when they wouldn't have done that. And so that shows an openness and moving forward on both parties. And so we had a service for that as well.
Here?
Here, in the chapel even, on a Sunday afternoon. There were some Presbyterians involved, and Jim and Mary Ray. And
I know they certainly are trying to make everything more inclusive.
Yes.
Oh, even with the celebration that's coming up. Is that next week with the
Indigenous
Day?
The
Indigenous,
yes, it's on Monday.
That's unbelievable. That's great.
Yes.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful having you part of our history here on this campus, part of our ministry here. Very, very important that you meet us as we're on the last part of our journey.
Thank you. It's a blessing to be here.
Yeah, a blessing to us. So again, in the name of the congregation, I thank you for your yes to come here on this campus and to be in ministry and bring such a gentleness and a loving presence.
You're welcome.
What we are all about. Thank you, Cathy.